what is couple privilege and how can it interfere with relationships? This is Reid Mahauka from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy Vartuli from the intimacydojo.com. What is it, Cathy? What do you think it is?
Well, how I have seen it, I'm right now single, and I have dated couples.
Okay, so this is a poly thing?
I've seen it also in friendships too. When I've gone out with friends, if I'm as a single person hanging out with a couple, the couple have more votes or pull, and they often consult with each other and decide what we're doing without checking in with me or giving me equal say.
Okay.
And that can feel like sometimes I don't want to hang out with people that do that because I'm like, wow, okay, she wants to go to Thai and he's going to go with Thai because that's what she wanted, and they're not even going to see, oh, I had Thai for lunch today. They're like, there's no consulting. So how do you define it?
I don't know. I mean, I hear about it, and I'm sure I'm guilty of it. I would, while there probably is some sort of privilege, I would say it's probably a priority thing. And again, like, these are things that, like, culture makes it okay if you have kids to put your kids above everything else. And
right.
Most friends don't seem to be like, oh, crap, you have to leave now. We're in the middle of our board game night, and you have to leave because there's an emergency at home or your kids need you.
Can I use a real example that
Sure.
I've experienced with you and Allie?
Sure.
It's nothing any super intensive or anything, but we were hanging out. You and I were going to hang out for the day, and you said, can Allie come? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And when it was time for lunch, the two of you sat in the front of the car and decided that she wanted to go to a diner. And nobody asked me if I wanted to go there. I didn't even know what was happening. But we just went to the diner because you two had discussed it. And Allie had a strong preference for that. Okay. And I was left out of the conversation.
Okay.
So the diner was great. She picked a great restaurant. But I would have liked to, very least like, hey, is this okay with you? And that didn't happen. And it felt like it was because you two were in a couple sitting in the front together of the car. And so that it just felt like I was less considered than.
Would you have felt more considered if you were in the front of the car?
I think I probably would have been more included in the conversation, but if just physically being there.
Mm-hmm. No, I could see that.
Yeah, but the fact that no one turned around and said, "Hey, is this okay with you?" felt like I've experienced that with other people too. It's like, okay, you guys agreed between each other, but the three of us are spending this time together. Mm-hmm. Turn around and ask and say, hey, is this okay? Let me have a voice in it.
Got it.
So
cool. I'm sorry that happened.
Oh, again, it wasn't a big deal. Allie picked a great place, but it just was like, oh, okay. I kind of felt like a kid in the back of the car.
Okay.
Because I wasn't like, you don't necessarily tell your kids, hey, we're going, this is, where would you like to go? You might say, we're going here. And that's kind of how it felt. So that's just an example that was
couple privilege.
Yeah.
Got it. There you go.
And to solve it, what I recommend is speaking up. That wasn't a big deal, so I didn't share it. But I have shared other times when I thought things were important.
And how did it go when you shared?
Sometimes you said, like, we were planning a trip for Sex Geek Summer Camp, for example, and I had certain needs around decompressing afterwards. Some of them I shared what I needed, and some you were like, oh, that's fine, and some you were like, no, I don't think that's okay. But at least I felt considered. I shared that it was important to me that if Allison changed her mind about something, that it didn't necessarily happen without consulting with me, and you were good about it. You did that, so I don't know that she changed her mind, but.
So is that how is that an example of what we're talking about?
I'm saying that if you're in this situation where you don't have that happening, now ideally I wouldn't even have to have that conversation because I would be considered equal to the decision making process. But I shared what was important to me to make sure that wasn't a problem. And if we don't speak up, other people may not even be aware that it's happening.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, leave some comments. Like, when is something privilege if you don't speak up about it? Mm-hmm. Because obviously there's a lot of cultural deep stuff going on. Mm-hmm.
And people have habits. Like you and Allison have certain habits. You and I have certain habits. And we might have used, when we were doing business stuff together, we might have had that privilege over other people. Mm-hmm. So, and may not have been aware. If you don't speak up, it's hard for people to know.
And also the piece you're sharing about, like, sitting in the back of a car and how that could make people feel like it's a kid thing. Mm-hmm. Like, because there can be other situations where things feel either inconsiderate or they feel shifted. The power dynamic feels shifted. Yeah, this is good. What do you think? Leave some comments.
We'd love to know what you think.
Thanks for tuning in, Sex Geek. If you would like to continue with the brain sex, do me a favor and click subscribe right here. If you'd like to watch me on social media, that's where you're going to go. Next video, maybe? And if you really would like your own Sex Geek t-shirt, please click right here, right now. Boop. No, really, like...